up the supplying capabilities across generative AI, data analytics, automation, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, and more. The smart supply chain is well on its way to becoming the new normal. And because this space is evolving so fast, we wanted to bring some subject matter experts to discuss the disruptive innovations and trends at length. Hi, this is Pankaj Gupta from EthAum Partners. We are a deep tech revenue scaler and fund based in Singapore with approximately 100 startups in the portfolio. These are all AI, ML, blockchain, IoT, robotics, AR, VR startups from different parts of the world, stages, and sectors. Today, we are hosting this panel to discuss innovations and trends that are disrupting the supply chain in the retail space. And we are extremely thrilled to host this panel in collaboration with BuyHive, a new startup in our portfolio disrupting the supply chain space. Now, I would request our esteemed panelists to introduce themselves so that we can learn more about what innovations they are implementing within their own ecosystem. If I may request Matthew to go ahead and do a quick intro, please.
Okay. Good morning, and I'm very happy to be part of this panel. Very exciting. Myself, Matthew, I am a founder and CEO of Logisci, which is a logitech startup based in Dubai. We are transforming the way freight procurement and management is handled for several decades. So our digital solutions include a reverse auction platform for freight procurement, which can be used by anybody who is an importer-exporter based anywhere in the world for shipments across the world. We have a marketplace for instant freight. We have a global shipment tracking solution, a carrier schedule solution. And recently we added a plugin, which is an AI ML enabled data analytics platform. And currently we are working on bringing the state of the art TMS solution, which will be first of its kind with a lot of additional features and capabilities expected to be launched in Q3.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Matthew. And I'm sure that you have seen a lot of struggle while building and growing your startup. And I'm sure you'll be able to share a lot of insights on how this overall industry is evolving or how the policies are impacting your day-to-day life. So appreciate your time today. Raza, may I request you to do a quick intro, please?
Thank you so much, Pankaj. My name is Raza Khan, and I'm really honored to be here on this panel with experts like you. A little bit about myself. I have been in the Middle East for almost 30 years. So 25 years of that has been in Dubai. And so I've seen Dubai grow basically, where we were talking about the traffic and everything. So I'm a procurement and sourcing and a contracts expert. I've worked across with companies such as MR, Mubadala, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, Miral Experiences, etc. So anything related to procurement and of course implementation and other things, I have been a part of that as well. So I'll just give a very brief introduction. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Raza. And obviously, big organizations are spending millions of dollars on innovating, and I'm sure that you'll be able to share a lot of insights on how your organizations have been, onboarding these innovative practices. So thanks a lot for your time today. Milind, may I request you to do a quick intro, please?
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, and I guess good evening as well. Somewhere, some part of the world. My name is Milind Gupta. So I'm a hardcore supply chain professional, currently working as Vice President Supply Chain and Procurement for an India-based startup that is Open Secret. We are into FMCG retail. And I have a close to like 12 to 13 years of experience in different domain of supply chain within the retail ecosystem. Before Open Secret, I was associated with Reliance Retail as a part of launch of JioMart, which is a B2C platform, which they have launched. And before that, I was also associated with multiple FMCG startups. And I've started my career with a company called KPMG as their supply chain consultant. So I've got a lot of opportunity to be associated with multiple technologies. And I hope I will gain a lot of insight as well, being a part of this discussion. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Milind. So you have been able to successfully take that difficult decision of moving from corporate world to the startup world. So
Yes.
that's pretty interesting. Thanks a lot, Milind, for joining us today. Noman, may I request you to do an intro, please? Go ahead.
Hi, this is Muhammad Noman. I'm working as a procurement officer in Saudi. Before that, I was in UAE. I worked in some construction companies for manufacturing. Now I'm in a marine company. We are providing services to the ships who are coming from around the world for in terms of getting some oil and other services.
Thank you, Noman. Appreciate it. Okay, next I would request Brent, co-founder of BuyHive and moderator of today's event panel, to introduce himself. Brent, please.
Thanks a lot, Pankaj. And good afternoon or good morning to you wherever you may be. My name is Brent Barnes, and I'm a co-founder of BuyHive. I've been in supply chain, some aspect of supply chain for the past 25 years. I sort of got my entry into this space with Global Sources, which at the time was kind of the leading Asian connector of buyers with suppliers. And I spent the bulk of my time at Global Sources in the corporate world trying to match buyers overseas with suppliers in Greater China. The company was sold to Blackstone in 2017. And so after that happened, I decided to part ways and to do the entrepreneurial thing. And so I left and started BuyHive with Manesh, who's on this call, and you'll hear from him later, and Michael Hung. And the three of us were looking to disrupt the very old-fashioned traditional sourcing space by using a network of sort of distributed global freelance sourcing professionals and technology to try to create a superior sourcing solution. So that's what we're all about.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Brent. Really appreciate your introduction. Now, I know that we prepared a lot of interesting questions for our panel today, and we are going to gather a lot of insights in the next 45 minutes or so. So why don't we start with the questions, Brent? And let's take the insights, yeah?
Okay, so I will call on you. So we'll try to keep this relatively organized. And if you're dying to speak, I will at the end of each question, I'll leave it open for somebody else to chime in. So don't worry, I will open the door. So let's start pretty broad with the first question, which is basically, is there a taboo or a myth that pervades in the supply chain that you don't agree with, that you'd like to share?
So shall we start with Matthew?
Yep.
Yeah, Matthew, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I think there are several myths, but one of the most important myths is that people believe that, technology will solve all their problems, which is wrong, okay? And they are scared of, technology, investment into technology, because they think that the cost is very high. Now, in addition to the cost on technology, people very rarely consider investment in digital adoption or technology adoption. So this is a really big myth, I will say, wherein, people need to change their mindset. Technology is not to solve everything under the sun, okay? So you need to really look at what are the problems you are facing currently, what is your supply chain strategy as such, what all problems can be solved using technology, what are the right solutions, and then you may do something like a pilot phase to see that everything is going smooth, and then you will scale it up. So this is one of the key areas. Number two, I will talk about, people think cutting cost is the only way to improve the profitability, okay? So they will look at each and every minor element to see how they can reduce cost and improve their bottom line. But these digital solutions, once you implement those, you are looking at improving the productivity, not just the efficiency. Efficiency is a short-term improvement, whereas productivity is a long-term plan. And if you are looking for sustainable growth, let us put it that way. If you're looking at sustainable growth, then you should be looking at bringing technology which will add productivity, ultimately bring in cost savings. Initially, you may be spending cost, but in long term, it will substantially improve your profitability. So I will focus on these two. I will leave to the other panel members. If I want to add a bit more, I will add at the end. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Milind, did you want to add to this discussion?
Yeah, I want to add to this. Okay, Raza is adding. Okay, go ahead, Raza, please.
Are you telling me, Milind?
Raza, are you?
Yeah, I'm very much here. So can I speak now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you. So I do agree with what Matthew said about the technology part of it, that, technology can solve everything on that particular part of that. But apart from that, I also believe that, the myth is that, the supply chain domain actually doesn't have a particular qualification and set of skills of people that we are looking at. So anybody and everybody can enter into a supply chain circle, and then and that's how they grow. But one thing apart from that, they need to know is that the knowledge and information and everything that has to come across, of course, a major part of it is the technology, but it is also the other thing is that the people with experience and knowledge and other things need to come in, because the general perception of the people around us is that anybody can be a supply chain professional, anybody can be a buyer, anybody can be a sourcing guy, but it takes a lot of skills, knowledge, of course, a lot of experience. All these things are also involved. So, one particular myth about this is that supply chain is anybody and everybody's, things are not the right thing that we are talking about over here. Mostly people do misunderstand buyers with that of what the sourcing team is doing, and that's just a small example of what I'm trying to tell you. Thank you.
That emotion. Milind, did you want to come back?
Yeah. So according to me, based on my experience, supply chain is not something which is the same solution fits for all. I mean, it is very important for the supply chain leaders to understand that not only the supply chain has to be agile enough to adapt the market requirements, supply chain leaders should also be agile enough to understand what is required for that particular product category, maybe particular company, particular business, particular product category, particular geography as well. And hence it is important to understand when we need the technology and what exactly we want to achieve from that technology is very important. Sometimes what we see in the industry, that if any other similar company or even the company in the similar domain or on the different domain as well, if they are implementing a technology and they are getting success, then we will also get the success. Is not something I am a fan of. It is for me, it is very much important that first of all, am I in a position with my team that I can handle the technology right now, the situation I am into in terms of the business. And this applies to all the companies, whether we are talking about MNCs or the big companies like Reliance and all, or a small startup like right now I am with Open Secret. It applies to everywhere. So hence, it is important for the leaders to think 360 degree thoroughly whenever they have to think about the technology and they have to implement the technology in their supply chain. Yeah. Thank you.
Makes sense. I mean, when we set out to start BuyHive, we were trying very hard to emphasize the value proposition of using real human beings. Imagine that, who have years and years of sourcing experience, in their respective product categories. And a lot of people didn't want to talk about that. A lot of people only wanted to talk about technology, which unfortunately, as actually a couple of you have just said, is basically only part of the equation. So, we try to balance both, and we talk about the real human beings with real experience who know how to make decisions about categories and suppliers and aspects of the supply chain, and then use the technology, especially as it improves and is more readily available, to cost effectively improve productivity and efficiency. So I think that is a kind of a universal challenge for all of us. Shall we move on to the next question? I'm just going to keep going. I guess there he is. Okay, right. Let's go on to our second question. So talking about innovation a bit, there's a lot happening in the supply chain in general on any given day. But is there a particular innovation that's getting you excited, and hopefully that you're also looking to implement in your own businesses? So it's basically about excitement in a particular area of innovation in the supply chain. Let's see, Matthew, do you want to start us with that one?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so there are a lot of new technologies in the market, and starting from blockchain or Internet of Things or robotics, everybody talk about big hype about AI, ML. So there are a lot of technologies. Now, when you look at supply chain, how things are changing, it's subject to, of course, the adoption. Okay, I started my career in 1993 in logistics with DHL. I continued with them for 26 years. Okay. Now, I always tell people, how the freight procurement was handled in 1993. People were using fax those days.
Yes.
That was the only option, fax, or you call them and give the details, or you send a request. And what has changed now mostly? People send an email, okay? Or some of them use WhatsApp. But the way freight procurement is handled, it is almost similar way. Of course, I'm not saying that there is no technologies. There are some technologies, but the adoption is very less. The people are still using the old technology. Now, it's a big hassle to send emails to 5-6 suppliers, get the rates by email, where everyone got the rate in a different format. None of that is comparable. They need to tabulate that into Excel sheets, make their assumptions, take a decision, and then what's the result? When you get the invoice from the logistics service provider, you can say 90% of the invoices are different from what you assume to be the total cost. And there are very few freight forwarders who give a lump sum price saying that this is what this shipment is going to cost. Okay. Now, there are solutions now available where you can get the most competitive price. So you don't have to stick to very few service providers. You can have large number of service providers. Okay. There is a huge issue of transparency in the market in logistics procurement. Now, these solutions will ensure total transparency in the procurement, and you can set the timeline. So, the global average is that it takes anything from a day to 7 days to get a rate. So through the automation, you can accelerate the rate procurement. So ultimately, these rate procurement solutions are a blessing. So, you can save time, the efficiency or the productivity improvement is over 80%. So you can save substantial time, substantial cost, increase the visibility and total transparency. And this cost is, again, it's not just the shipping cost. You can save your administrative cost by almost 60 to 80%. So that is one of the solutions I will talk about. Second, this AI ML, it has improved or has brought a lot of changes in the market. Now, AI ML enabled the data analytics platform. Now, if you look at most of these companies in the supply chain divisions, they use a number of trackers, which are maintained in Excel sheet rather than having a centralized repository of data. And this data is all scattered. Now, if they need to develop some KPI reports at the end of the month or week or fortnight, It's such a big hassle. Half the data is from finance, half the data is from the logistics team, from the warehouse. And to make a report, it's a hassle. Whereas if you have the complete data available, the analytics becomes so easy. You can get the predictive analytics, whatever analytics you need, whether you want to plug it with your sales data, whether your production data, your warehouse data, it all gets synchronized and it becomes much, much easier. Now, AML, of course, I'm just giving one example. It can be used for your supply chain planning, your order management, you name it. So I will focus on these two solutions, which is transforming and which can add a sizable value to any organization, and these are not expensive. Now, of course, I dream about a blockchain, but unfortunately, that is still at the early stage. But I think supply chain is one of the best model to implement a blockchain concept. And we have some plans in the pipeline. So, that can be really revolutionizing the way supply chain is handled in future. Thank you.
Yeah, blockchain also gets me excited. Right, Naman, do you want to jump in?
Naman?
Naman? Yeah, you're on. You're good.
Yes. Hi. Actually, I'm facing a bit issues in our supply chain. The main thing is for the trust issues. Although technology makes our life much easier, but I believe I'm the most junior person in this panel. So I've lost for your suggestion. So actually, we are a part of Marine, and in Marine, we have a very short span time. We have limited time to give services to the ship. They are coming for a very small time, for 24 hours, 48 hours, maximum 72 hours. So sometimes they are asking, they are demanding the things like we are sitting in Jeddah, okay, and Jeddah is a very big market, but some of the items, some of the distributors are located in another part of the country or in another country. Maybe some items are not locally available here in Saudi, Jeddah, so we need to import. So I would ask for recommendation from any suggestion from the senior panel. So in such issues, how we can sort out these things.
Thank you, Naman.
Yeah, thank you. Raza, you want to jump in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. According to me, for me, why we need technology, or why for any technology, what is the end result I see is the data. So I want to see a data as much as in a structured format as possible, as much as real time as possible. That is the end goal for implementing any technology. In a retail space, obviously, I mean, the industry I belong to, blockchain is obviously it has a very infant stage, so I won't talk much about it. But yes, IoT as well as AI/ML has taken a great place, because when we talk about IoT, so I have, even as a consultant, I have seen a great use of IoT, especially in the agri supply chain. So see, when we talk about FMCG retail, the procurement or the last route of the procurement is through the agri supply chain or the commodities we are talking about. And hence, it is very difficult to predict right now, have a long-term prediction on the quality and the quantity of sourcing which we get through or which we get into commodity supply chain. And hence, there is a lot of variability in the sourcing itself. So with the help of technology like IoT, if this will really solve the agri problems, according to me, because we have a regular data. Also, IoT, according to me, benefits the cold supply chain as well. Getting a regular and the continuous real-time data of our cold supply chain, manage our cold supply chain in a very, very structured way. Talking about AI, yes, especially AI-based demand forecasting techniques will give us more visibility in terms of making our procurement cycles or making our sourcing more strategic. And See, right now, if you see the industry, especially, again, I'm talking about retail industry, especially in the retail industry, whatever forecasting techniques which we are using from past 20, 25 odd years, even with the help of technology, we are unable to achieve more than 75% accuracy in most of the scenarios, in 90 plus cases. And hence, if we get technology in the form of AI and ML, they will support and give us that kind of a visibility, which is like more than 80, 85% in terms of forecast, will definitely help in solving the entire procurement related issues, I would say. And we'll have a very, and both, when I say procurement, I'm not talking about both raw material, finished goods, logistics, everything. Also, I believe transparency is one thing which is the demand of an hour for the consumer. And hence, if we have to integrate our supply chain backward, it is important to use technology like AI so that we can give that transparency to our consumer in the form of like nowadays consumer has to just scan a QR code from a packet of a snack, and he or she is in a position to get from where we have sourced the raw material from that particular SKU. And that kind of a transparency is something, although it's, again, it's at the very, very infant stage, but I believe in the next 10 to 20 years, consumer will definitely seek that kind of transparency, especially in the food and beverage space.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. It's actually, several of you have mentioned transparency. Pretty much everybody has mentioned efficiency, consistency of sort of disparate sets of data. Completely makes sense. But when we, talking about myself for a second, we're talking about BuyHive, we started 4.5 years ago. And at that time, something like 60, 70% of the investors that we spoke to were talking about blockchain. It was blockchain this, blockchain that. And we were super excited about it, not because we were working on blockchain, but because we knew that blockchain made so much sense in different parts of the supply chain. But then the conversation changed, and now nobody's talking about blockchain anymore, even though I think it's incredibly valuable. And I don't think it's going to go away, but now everyone is talking about AI. And if you're not talking about AI, then you're not relevant. So here's my next sort of add-on for all of you. If you can just raise your hands, how many of you are currently investing in AI solutions in your respective businesses for whatever reason?
You may use emoji to raise your hands. Okay, I see a couple of hands.
Or you can literally raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, right. So we are as well. But yeah, it seems like you can't really be in any conversation unless you have something to say about AI. And it didn't make sense, right? It's understandable. But I really hope that blockchain has a resurgence. Right. Let's move on to our next question, which is basically just general trends in supply chain. Is there anything that's happening in the supply chain today that frustrates you, like from a trend perspective? We've talked about what excites you and what's motivating in many ways, but also there are many frustrating things. You want to talk about one that particularly annoys you? Who wants to go first?
Let's start with Raza. Yeah.
Yeah, Raza. Yeah, go ahead. Raza, you there? You froze.
Raza froze.
Yeah, I think Raza's out now. Let's see. Nauman, you wanna jump in?
Nauman, you may have to unmute yourself.
Yes, hi.
Go ahead, please.
Do you need me to repeat the question? Yeah, go ahead.
The question I asked the earlier discussion, which I speak to you, and this is the concern which I'm facing. We are working in the marine, and I told you, marine, we have a very limited time to give services to the ship. So one thing, we are using some online platforms, like maybe you're not aware. The person who are in touch with the marine, we have some online platform like Shipper and Procure Ship or clients, and the ship owners are giving us inquiries there. And from this two platforms, we have multiple platforms. for the time being, I have the two platform in my mind. So we are just getting inquiries from there and quoting there. So sometimes when we are quoting to them, it takes 3 months, maximum 6 months. So they are keep reminding, they are coming after 3 months and 6 months asking for, you quoted this one, can we arrange this one? And at the last moment, they are asking us to arrange, which is, they are coming here only for maximum 48 to 72 hours. And I hope I make my question clear.
Thank you, Numan.
Yeah, thank you. Matthew, you want to give it a shot?
Yep. I think, first of all, the question is on the frustration,
Yeah.
Irrespective of whatever is happening now, I will say logistics people are one of the most frustrated people in the world, the logisticians. That's how the logistics is. Now, what is most frustrating? There are several things. Now, let us look at the way how the whole supply chain got disrupted with the pandemic, with the COVID, okay?
Mm.
Where, for example, a container was $600 from Shanghai to Jebel Ali pre-COVID. It went to $8,900. So you're talking about 15 times, okay? And then after COVID, it went down to $600. Now, because of the Red Sea issue, it is back to $2,500, which is again 4 times higher, okay? Now, can we do anything on this? Such natural disasters on one side, the pandemic on the other side, but the geopolitical issues, okay? So this is really, really very frustrating, or one of the most frustrating thing for, not only the logisticians, the shipper consignees worldwide, and they have their pre-committed sales, and these are all uncontrollable issues which disrupts the supply chain, ultimately increase the shipping cost, increase the shipping time, and at the end affect the customer satisfaction. So this is the first thing. Second, I will say, when you talk about any of the technology implementations with customers, now I don't blame the logisticians, because there is a global saying that logisticians are generally a bit scared of technology. Okay, now of course the mindset is changing now, but the trend is that they expect that a technology must be implemented. If you can in a day, they are very happy. In a week, they can. But when you talk about implementing a solution which is somewhat similar to an ERP solution, which may take a couple of months, they are very hesitant, because they have no time to parallelly run their current manual process and then simultaneously implement the new system. And they don't have the long-term vision to see that this is going to improve the productivity, and for the sustainable growth, this is a must. So you may have an initial period where it may take a little bit of excess burden, but after that, you are going to save substantial time and cost, and you will have a much better work-life balance. So this is very frustrating. Then, of course, the frequent regulatory changes that comes in. The government comes out with very often different changes, wherein they have to keep updated with these regular changes, and managing the documents in line with the changing requirements. It's a pain, and if they don't comply with that, they end up in heavy fines and penalties. So I'll focus on these three. Of course, there are many other issues.
Yeah, those are good ones. Yeah, thank you. Razana, I think you're back. Yes?
Sorry?
Are you frozen again? Uh-oh. I was excited because I saw you showed up a second time, but it looks like you're still not with us. Okay, Milind, I'm afraid you're going to have to jump in.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Milind.
Yeah. So for us specifically in my domain, yes, I mean, one frustration Matthew has already discussed. The logistic cost is fluctuating because of multiple reasons, especially the cross-border logistics, and hence have a direct impact because, see, in a packaged food industry, we cannot increase the MRP then and there itself, and we cannot increase the MRP or change the price every month. It is not possible for us, and hence there's a direct impact on our bottom line when when we see that or when we have to face such kind of a variation in the cost in terms of logistics. But we have one more challenge which is far more frequent, is the cost of raw material, because the cost of raw material is fluctuating like anything. I mean, yeah, and that is quite frustrating. And like, for example, if I can give you an example, so we have to procure cocoa beans for the chocolates, for the production of chocolates, and the prices in the last 4 months has increased by like 60-70%. And hence, so the cost, like in terms of dollars, which we were like procuring a kg in $1, right now we have to procure in terms of $2.5. So cost of the raw material increased by 2.53 times. The problem is we cannot increase the price for the consumer in such a manner, and hence there is a direct impact on our bottom line. With that, there's an added advantage of increasing the price of other raw material, and hence, yeah, I mean, this is quite frustrating for us.
Yeah, very good one. I think that's affecting pretty much everybody across the board. Do we have time to? Actually,
I think
tell you what, let's go to the next
Raza is
question.
back. I think let's take his feedback
Oh,
on
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Are you here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had some internet issues, so I came back to my phone. But anyway, yeah, I missed out a part of it. But my concerns and frustration has been two or three things. One of them is we talk about a high-end technology and everything from our side, but the government and the processes around the government and everything, although they are moving very fast, but they are not up to the pace that we want at this moment or time, particularly in necessary times as such, where it is very critical. We do not find that robust movement of the governments. That is something that is very frustrating for us. So that's one thing which is there. The other thing is that we all spoke about the data and transparency of the data and everything. But when we talk about, of course, many of my colleagues over here have also showed that concern. The accuracy of the data is also a very big concern. So we have a lot of sources to get data, and we are talking about it, but how much of the data, the accuracy is there when we talk about a company, the background of the company and everything? What is the accuracy of that? This is something, which we are not able to verify, and that's another big issue. Particularly, my friend from Jeddah would agree with me now that, when Saudi Arabia is expanding so fast and, it is not actually moving, it's more than running and everything, it's moving at a very fast pace. So accuracy of data is something which is a very big issue, particularly in this part of the world that we have seen. So there are companies who say they do this, do that, and everything, but at the end of the day, they are not able to perform on that. So that's something which is there. And of course, apart from that, as I told you, the regulatory requirements and the government and everything is something which is there.
Raza, question regarding the accuracy of data is, because I'm not as familiar with the Middle East as I am with sort of Eastern Asia. Is the data accuracy problem, is it at the source, meaning is it at the sort of government body level, or is it at the service provider level?
So it is at both. So when we go out, so let's take an example of Saudi Arabia as a market itself. So you have around 60 to 70% of the entire projects, which you talk about, anything within procurement, supply chain, retail, everything is happening over here in Saudi Arabia. Now, The data that we require is to support the local companies, to engage with the local companies and everything. The accuracy of data is not there. So you have the A-tier companies, which data will be there. But then again, when you talk about the B-tier and the C-tier companies that you are talking about, the data is not available at all. So that's the way it is. So, it becomes very frustrating and difficult, and not like Dubai, you have a proper regulatory control over the data and information and the flow and everything. That is not there. So that becomes very frustrating. And of course, when you bring in, the regulatory requirements and everything are there, but it takes a lot and lot of time to actually move them ahead. Yeah.
Understand. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And I'm glad you're reconnected and very clear connection.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Let's move on to our next question. We're going to do some magical thinking for a second. If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change one thing in the supply chain world, what would you change and why would that be your choice? That's the question. So I think we're going to go to Matthew. Matthew, you're ready, looks like.
Okay, I think the biggest challenge is the level of digital adoption with the logisticians worldwide. So I will pray that, they change their mindset and the organization spend really time and cost in empowering them, because any organization can spend the money in implementing digital solutions, but unless and until there is adoption from the users, from the team, it will fail. So basically, my magic wand, that is to change the mindset of logisticians worldwide and the management worldwide to spend or invest in digital adoption. So that's what I will do. And maybe another thing is use the latest technologies so that each function will not continue to work as watertight compartments, have integration of data with the system where, the workflow becomes smooth and they work collaboratively to improve the productivity, efficiency, and ultimately improving the profitability. So I will use these two. Thanks.
Both good. Thank you. Nauman, you want to jump in? If you could wave your magic wand and change one thing in the supply chain, what would you change?
Yes, I would love to jump in there. If I would get something magic like it, I would make a such platform where we can get the exact information of the exact things. Like I explained you two platforms for the specific. I will talk about my industry, to whom where I'm working, procure ship and marine, and we will try to make from where we will get the proper information, the actual position for this logistic for the ships. So when they are coming, when we can give them services, when what is their time of birth and when they are sailing.
Got it. So fewer surprises, in other words. Got it. Okay. Who else wants to jump in? I guess we've got either Reza or Milind. You're welcome to jump in.
Yeah. So for me, it is more important that companies should start focusing on their supply chain and they should make it more inclusive. When I say inclusive, what I've seen based on my experience as well as the way I observe the companies, most of the supply chain professionals and the supply chain as a whole work in silo. And I believe that the supply chain, if we really want to make an impact, so first of all, the mindset in itself. So if you give this magic wand to any of the founder of the company, then they will say, okay, I mean, supply chain should be free for me because it is the one which is impacting the cost. It's as simple as that. So I mean, whenever we think supply chain as a cost, it will give us a negative impact in itself, because it is something which is taking away from the revenue, and they're only taking away. So they are not giving back anything. So it's that fat for the company. And companies, if they do not involve the supply chain as a center of their business ecosystem, when I say center, the supply chain professionals and the supply chain in itself should be directly aligned with the marketing strategy, sales strategy, financial strategy of the company, or the growth strategy of the company. Then we can make a profitable, we can make a more productive and efficient supply chain for them, for the company itself. And hence it is that mindset, the change of that mindset is very important, I believe. And that is something which we will gonna see in the near future for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. Anybody else want to jump in? I guess we only really have Reza left. Yeah. You good? Okay. Pankaj, do we have time for the fifth question?
Yep, I think this is fantastic.
Do we have sufficient time, or are we?
Brent, your voice is breaking, I guess. But yeah, this has been a fantastic conversation so far. I know we were having some technological challenges, some audio challenges, but I was able to see the interesting conversation, the passion in the eyes of the panelists, which is extremely exciting.
Pankaj, I lost you.
Pankaj is frozen now.
Pankaj got
Yeah.
technical.
So we're taking turns freezing.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so he's no, wait, are you still there?
He's
Pankaj, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, so again, really appreciate all the insights today. Now, why don't we move on to the roast session where Manish will be presenting BuyHive pitch, and we'll be getting feedback, questions, comments, or probably some guidance as well on the product roadmap, go-to-market strategies, and partnerships, and so on and so forth. So, Manish, are you ready? Okay, fantastic. Go ahead, please.
Yep, I'm ready. And it's good to listen to the earlier session, because hopefully some of the problems that were mentioned in that, and of course we didn't know the problems from these people before, but some of the problems are what we are trying to solve as well as part of the BuyHive solution. So it's a good thing. So very simply put, with BuyHive, what we have created is an expert-assisted sourcing platform. And of course, we're using AIs to further enhance solutions and provide solutions. As I get into the deck, I will explain it more. We were born in Hong Kong with operations in US, and our presence today is in about 20 countries, but we have global ambitions for the company. The company has been fully bootstrapped and has been built with the objective of solving the problems of procurement. Okay. Today, other than our own money, as I said, we're bootstrapped. We've been invested by the Hong Kong government through Cyberport, but we will be starting fundraising this year as we build out the AI tools and as we start scaling up faster. So our vision is basically to be a funnel of opportunities in the procurement space. Any kind of opportunities that are related to procurement and sourcing, we want to provide services to that. These services would be all kinds, from providing suppliers or sources to doing services such as providing logistics help, trade finance, manufacturing resources, inspections, shipping, so on and so forth. And we've built the platforms for that. And the idea for us is not a quick exit, but something that we are building for a long term, for us to build into a multi-million, billion-dollar organization, solving the real issues of the sourcing industry, because we don't feel the current solutions that are available in the market are actually solving it, and will not be solving it for sure in the future of the retail industry. So our background. I myself have been in the procurement space in some way or the other for about 24, 25 years. I've worked in multiple parts of the world in different large and small companies, mainly India, US, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, and managed supply chains across Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, uh, North America, Latin America, and pretty much all of Asia. So, and I've lived by now, I've lived in about 7 countries, managing all kinds of people. And always I've been in the procurement space. I've always seen the problems of the procurement space. Brent and I used to work together at Global Sources. That was the previous company that Brent mentioned earlier, which was the prequel to Alibaba. So this company was started in 71. Alibaba came about 97 or something. And actually, for those that don't know, Alibaba pretty much copied the first UI, UX, and everything, and including the first few people of Global Sources is what Alibaba was built on. So Global Sources, I was the head of Global Sources sales teams, international sales teams, and Brent was the CEO. He was very deeply involved in selling the company to Blackstone. We stayed around, and then we felt that the new team was not really in for building in solutions for the industry, but more about cost control. So we moved on and started BuyHive. We got together with Michael, who's a third generation sourcing family business. They've been in China with 100+ people in procurement, in QA, QC, and compliance. So we said, we have a good team. We can get together. He was understanding the problems, changes in the industry and the problems of the industry. And we understood it. He started as a client of ours at Global Sources and then became a good friend over 15 years. So then it was easy to get together with him. And Pranav, we brought him as a tech expert. I knew Pranav from childhood, but he was the head of product at Cognizant, Aptus, and many others. So he knows the technology. We discussed what we wanted to build, and he knew exactly how to build it. So it was a good match for us, and we brought him on. We also built a nice, strong board of advisors. We got Zishao, who was the CRO at Flextronics and PCH. She is a PhD from Northwestern in supply chain and a PhD from Tsinghua. So she's a very good asset for us. We have Jimmy, who was at Walmart e-commerce, Flutterwave, 10x Capital, and is known for being super connected in the startup world. And Christoph is pretty much the guru of sourcing in the world of sourcing. Christoph was the head of sourcing at Gap. He was the CEO of sourcing of Carrefour, and he was the head of sourcing at Tesco's. And he's one of the most respected names you can find in the sourcing industry. So we get a lot of knowledge, intelligence, and connections through these people. We started at the right time because there was a big change happening in the retail industry while we started, and now we're going through, actually, COVID has only accelerated that change. The move has been accelerated. Some of the major changes was that a lot of sourcing experts on which we depended were easily available. Gig economy or gig platforms are accepted across the industry. We have seen that with Uber, and Didi, and Fiverr, and Upwork, and so on and so forth. Online sellers are increasing as compared to traditional retail. And as the online sellers increase, they don't have sourcing expertise. They know how to create brands. So we can help them there. We have a good experienced team. We are in part of the geographical realignment where sourcing is moving, especially for consumer goods, very fast across different sections of the product categories. People are moving to different parts of the world. So there's need for changing suppliers, and this creates a need for our solution. The way our solution works is a buyer comes in, tells us what they need. We go through our network of freelance sourcing experts, which are today about 5,000 in about 20 odd countries. We find the right one that will be suitable for them. The sourcing expert goes into the market, uses his network, or goes to a trade show, whatever he or she does. They come back, procure the data curate the data to the needs of the buyer. So the buyer said, I want shoes at this price. I want 5,000 units. I want to buy it from a CP65 factory that needs to have an ISO 9001 certification. And I'm looking for that in, let's say, Turkey.
Then we would have, and the shoe design is similar to a Dolce Gabbana. Then we say, okay, we're going to find you somebody who's been working for D&G in Turkey and who understands the space. So he or she actually understands what happens, what suppliers are available, and we vet these sourcing experts. We make sure they are the ones that they are doing the work. So they go out, they capture the data is templated. And it is very important. So in the earlier session, somebody was talking, oh, what kind of data? How is it collected? We don't know the quality of the data. So we already understood that, and we actually templated the data so that the data can be maintained in high quality and it can remain uniform across different parts of the world. They will capture the data in our template. It will run through a QC process, and then a report is generated for the buyer. The buyer can then see the report and rate the sourcing expert. So if there is a problem with the sourcing expert and the rating goes below certain things, we can kick them out. And plus, we can make sure that we don't pay the sourcing expert and we refund the buyer back or ask them for an option to do it again with some other sourcing expert. So it's a control system. Now, what happens because of this is that the process that we are doing in $299, this could have taken them $17,000, $18,000 of time and costs. Just the manpower that is included in doing that, finding suppliers, especially if you don't have a team in Turkey and you're going to go find a supplier of shoes in Turkey, it might not be that easy. Same thing in China, same thing in Vietnam, same thing in India. If you don't have teams there and you're trying to find factories, it's not that easy. So we could save the buyers a lot of money. The other thing is that the current platforms that are available in the market, Alibaba, our previous company, Global Sources, DHgate, IndiaMart, Trade India, name them, they're all advertising platforms and they make money from the suppliers. So when you go and look for products on them, all you're finding is the highest paid advertisers on top. And that is not a right way of sourcing because you're not really getting curated or matched to suppliers that you should meet. And what that means is you're going to spend a lot of time finding the right one that meets your requirement. And even then, when you go to really find them or go to see them, they may not be the same ones because what you have seen is advertising and marketing data, not real data of the supplier. The suppliers are not really verified. They are advertising information that I said. And it's a time-consuming process, and it can also become limited by regions. For example, Alibaba's 80% of the suppliers are in China. They don't have suppliers even in countries like India and other places because the advertisers are not able to afford the advertising fee that Alibaba is charging. And that was the same challenge with Global Sources. That was the same challenge where DHgate and IndiaMart is only in India. Trade India is only in India, and so on and so forth. So it's these challenges that become difficult to solve. So we are here to solve all of those by providing an expert network and able to do much more than any of these platforms can do. Like I said, we've invested about $500,000 in trying to get about 5,000 sourcing experts in the last 3.5 years or so. We started the company 4.5 years back, but 3.5 years has been invested in getting these people. And what that means is we need to rate the resumes. We need to then filter out the resumes that don't make sense, then set the interviews with all those people, then qualify them, and then onboard them onto the platform backend, and then create their front-end profiles. That's a big exercise. We invested a lot of money, all bootstrapped our own money to make this happen. But the long-term value of this, because of our exercise that we've done, even if we were able to give one job to each of these 5,000 sourcing experts a month, that could mean $18 million of revenue in the current expert sourcing solutions. And the current other solutions that we are providing, such as contract manufacturing, trade finance, logistics, etc., etc. This is at considering only 10% conversions from the expert sourcing jobs. That is a huge potential market of about $600 million. The sourcing experts that we have, like I said, we qualified them, we vetted them, and you can name the companies and we would have the people from there. You want somebody from IKEA, you want somebody who has done Snyder, who's done Uniqlo, who's done Diesel, doesn't matter. We'll find the people with that kind of background for you in our database, and it's all registered in our database. We're able to do any product that is selling on Amazon today, all of the SKUs that sell on Amazon, pretty much all the consumer products that are there, we are able to source. We haven't moved into other categories, but in consumer products, this is our coverage. What happens because of this is a data exercise. Every time we are finding a supplier for a buyer, every time we are doing a sourcing project, we are collecting data on the buyer and the buyer's needs. We are collecting data on the supplier. We're collecting data on the capacity, capability, certification, their payment terms, their lead times, and so on and so forth. We are collecting data on the product. We are collecting data on the pricing, the MOQ, the HS code, the lead times, the packaging information, and so on and so forth. We are collecting buyers' requirements. We are collecting their price targets. We are collecting the testing standards, destinations where they're selling to. We're collecting the sourcing expert data. Every sourcing expert, we have a full detailed explanation about their years of experience, what categories they work for, what brands did they source for, what product knowledge they have, how many years of product knowledge they have, and so on and so forth. So all of that becomes data points. These data points then go through our system, and then we are able to make a funnel. What did I say? We're providing a funnel of opportunities. Maybe some of these we do keep doing ourselves, some of these we outsource to others, but the funnel remains, and the BuyHive funnel will be able to do manufacturing and delivery, logistics solutions, trade finance solutions, recruitment and upskilling solutions for these sourcing experts, and even selling excess inventories for the buyers and sellers. So we've created a platform that has multiple assets. And this is not even talking about the next part of it, which is the most exciting part, which is the AI part of it, right? So what is happening so we've got sourcinggpt.ai. We own about 20 URLs related to sourcinggpt. And sourcinggpt.ai is our main URL. In that, we are building generative AI tools. And I think Matthew was talking about the problems about how do you compare these suppliers? How do we do the analysis of quotations? How do we compare quotations and so many others? And somehow, Matthew, I was not writing the slide when you were talking, but this is the slide that we are building. These are the solutions we are building. So basically, I cannot show you all the detailed solutions and how it works, but you will be able to do a comparison of a supplier that you met at a trade show, a supplier that you saw on Alibaba, a supplier that you do in Trade India, the supplier that you found in somewhere in made in China. And you can put their links, you can put their PDFs or Word files or whatever they are, and we will pull that data into our AI, and it will make a comparative analysis. This could pretty much, if you're doing 5 supplier analysis, by our estimates, you're saving about 25 to 30 man hours. That's how much saving you will get by one tool that we develop, right? The other advanced quotation analysis, in your emails, you might get 20 quotations a day or 10 quotations a day. And it's very difficult to do that. We'll say, okay, push it to this one particular email or upload your quotations, and we'll give you in seconds a comparison. Your team, again, could spend 25, 30 hours doing this quotation analysis. And even if you say 20 hours at $20 an hour, you saved $400 easily, right? So that's the kind of savings that we are bringing to people. Somebody also talked about the logistics costs. You always say, oh, I got a EXW, I got a FOB, I got a CIF pricing. I am shipping from, let's say, from Ningbo to Jabal Ali, and I don't know what it's going to cost. What we'll do is we'll pull in customs data, and we'll pull in historical logistics data or the shipping costs. So you said, oh, shipping costs change because of these parameters. And we will pull in what is happening in real time in the market. I'll say, if you're shipping during this time, your estimated cost per unit is going to be this much. Again, you could be spending 40, 50, 60 hours and still not arriving at actual cost. So this will be a great tool for buyers. We will be doing personal supplier recommendations. As we build in more data, as more and more is being done, we will be able to say, for this particular product and for your specific requirement of quality, compliance, where you are shipping to, what price point you're selling to, this one supplier, 2 suppliers are the best suppliers suitable for you. We will be doing kind of a guru of sourcing, where you'll be able to ask random questions related to, oh, I'm sourcing cotton textiles from India. What is the duty structure like? What is the change in policies between US and India, and how would it affect my sourcing in 5 years? What are the factors I need to be remembering? And so on and so forth. You can ask any random questions, and the back end, which is fed by our sourcing experts in a real time, was keep on building on that. And then finally, somebody also mentioned about spending time on POs and quotations and contracts and invoices and stuff like that. This will be templates that can be generated. You put in your information within seconds. Again, you got a PO generated, you got a quotation generated. You don't have to waste time. You don't have to go. And mostly the small, medium-sized companies that don't have these softwares that they work on, it's a painstaking exercise. It wastes a lot of hours and it's not productive exercise. So we are trying to solve a lot of these issues. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is where we begin. As we collect more data, we're going to do many more solutions into it, and the whole aspects of sourcing will be solved. Some of those that we talk about is like real-time pricing and insights. And this will be the phase 2 of development. Vetted and certified sourcing experts. So we will already have sourcing experts as you go in, matched to you and vetted, like recommended for you immediately. Today, it takes some time. Later, it will be immediate. There will be efficient supplier matching tools, which is okay. But even before you start the exercise, as soon as you tell your requirements, we'll have some suppliers matched to your requirements, and then some will be done by the sourcing experts. And then data-driven insights, whether it is logistics data, whether it is manufacturing data, whether it is customs data, or whether it is data related to anything else, we'll be able to do it. So I'm going to end there, not walk into anything else, with saying that so far we've been 4.5 years. We're completely in black every single year. And we have not taken any single dollar from anybody to develop whatever we have developed today. Now we open up to questions and see how you guys want to roast me, as Pankaj says, but feel free to ask me any questions.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Manish. Please go ahead, Matthew.
Okay. Second. Yeah. Okay, what's your go-to-market strategy currently?
So currently, whatever we have done, right? I mean, I would say that before fundraising, all that we have done is been organic through LinkedIn, and that's been all how we've got revenue. But as we get into fundraising and as we build it on, there are multiple go-to-market strategies. The major one will depend on all the sourcing related trade shows. So for example, for the electronics industry, I will be at CES. For the home and furniture industry, I'll be at Ambiente in Frankfurt. For the for sectors such as apparel, I'll be at the fashion weeks in Milan and New York and so on and so forth. So it's that strategy to sign up buyers really quick is what we'll have to go for. And it's more about building in. So for example, the AI tool, the sourcing GPT tool, is all about getting in subscribers. So we will have freemium models on which we will do social media campaigns and sign up or register people on the freemium models, and they can get certain number of transactions for free. But as they get addicted, then we'll be adding on buy in-app purchases or buying in credits and stuff like that.
Okay, so your customers currently, they are based in Hong Kong or Far East, or you have customers?
All the customers are in North America right now. North America. All the revenue earning customers for us, we've built them in North America. That's where our networks are. We are all from North America. We've spent all our times with buyers in North America. So we focused on that.
Okay. And
like I said, it's been organic. So it's because of a network that we get. We seriously haven't spent $1 on marketing.
Okay. And in your pricing model, you were saying $299 to $499 per project. Now, here I was trying to access your system and try to log in. Now, what you treat as a project in this model, is it one order, or it can be multiple SKUs? Because I saw that there is a difficulty to add multiple SKUs with one order. So that is one question. And second, what happens once we place an order with you? and you allocated that to one of your sourcing experts from the country, whichever is the country, and the first transaction is done. Now, after that, is the buyer allowed to deal with the supplier for the future orders, or everything has to be routed through your system?
Okay. Okay. So first of all, what happens is you place an order with us and it will be for one SKU. Because, for example, if it's a shoe and another SKU is apparel, the sourcing expert will not have the expertise of doing that, the category expertise. So it has to be by the product that is being sold. So that's an SKU. For that, the fee is $299 to $499. $499 in developed markets, $299 in developing markets. And in both of them, 80% of that is paid to the sourcing expert for their time. It's not kept. 20% is kept by the platform. 80% is paid by the paid to the sourcing expert. When they upload the data, they're giving you full details about the contacts of the supplier. They're giving you the exact price points. They're giving you the quality. They're giving you quantity, everything, detailed information. So you are, after you get the report, you're free to contact the supplier yourself. What we will do is we will touch base with you after you have got the report for a few days, and we'll say, do you need any further help in sourcing? So you might say, oh, I need help. I don't have a person to manage the manufacturing in Turkey. No problem. Let me manage it for you. And then I will charge you whatever, 10%, 12%, whatever that fee is. Or you say, oh, I have everything, but I don't have a logistics partner. Can you do it for me? Or I don't have a QC partner. Can you do it for me? And then we'll basically give you those options. And you're not tied to us. At no point of time we are saying you have to do everything through us. No. The sourcing expert has given you all the detailed information to work with.
Okay, good. Just one last question here before I ask the others to ask the questions. I have seen some sort of a solution wherein anybody can find out for a given SKU who are the importers into this country, for example, UAE, for example, and who are the shippers of this same SKU from worldwide, and what is the volume, what is the price they are charging for each of those SKUs, etc. Now, if a customer has an access to such a solution to find out the suppliers, so it is not only imports into this country, they can also find out where they are exporting from this country to worldwide. Now, if a customer has an access to such a solution, can they approach these shippers directly unless and until they have exclusivity for that product into that country? And how you will be solving that problem?
So Matthew, very good question, and glad you asked this, because most of the people, if you are an expert in logistics, you will know that 100% of the shippers are not the factories. The shippers, the data that you are seeing is customs data. What these guys are doing, there's multiple companies, including Panjiva, that is doing this, but they're buying customs data from the US Customs or Jabal Ali Customs or whichever, and they're publishing that data. But that doesn't give you the shipper. So for example, let's say the shoe company is called ABC Shoe Company, that is the factory, but the document for the shipping might be DEF Shoe Company, or not even a shoe company, DEF Logistics, that has the thing. So getting DEF's information doesn't get you anything. It's not going to be useful. And you'll be wasting a long time before you get the information of any kind that's useful. It's a waste of resource to use those tools, frankly speaking. And we've seen this multiple times. And we purchased these data. We used to use this data in global sources. I have buyers that use this data. The best way to use that kind of data is doing price comparisons, which we will use in our AI. We will buy the data and give you price insights. This product was shipped at this price into the US. We can do that. And we can tell you that your pricing you're paying is too high or too low, or what should be the looking at it in that. Those things can be done. But analysis of the supplier, who is the supplier, impossible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but that the solution what I have seen, that shows the shipper name, huh? Who is the shipper, who is the...
No, shipper name is not, shipper name is what is on the BOL. Shipper is not the manufacturer.
Okay.
Shipper and manufacturers are two different things. Shipper is on the BOL. That is being purchased from customs. But the manufacturer and the manufacturer's capacity, capability, compliance, none of that information is there. It's useless for you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thanks, Matthew. Let's take next question.
Yep.
Raza.
If there's nobody, I can actually ask the question. So Manish, my question is to you. I have two questions. One is for Manish, particularly to BIve, and then one is a general question, which I think anybody can answer it to me. In terms of your system, are we able to integrate this to one of the corporate the systems that we have, and then how good is it in terms of integrating it with other systems? So in case we want to use you, how flexible are you? Do you have your own standalone system, and every time we should go ahead and use your system, or we can integrate it into our corporate system so that any of the buyers can actually go ahead or talk to you and deal with you?
Okay. So for that question, answer is very simple. To begin with, it will be a standalone system, right? It's the database sits in our AWS server in Singapore. The engine behind it is a GPT API. So the data is ours. The processor is somebody else's. But what we are doing is we're building the whole tools in APIs. What that means is, as far as your system has an API integration function, in theory, we can integrate with you. So the idea is we would be able to integrate. Let's say Shopify wants to use us in its backend. We can use it, integrate with API. Amazon wants to use us, or any company that has their own systems, has an API module, we can integrate.
But ultimately here, just to add on, you are not placing the order through your system, is it? Or you are only identifying the sourcing expert and
so that is solution one. So Matthew, that is solution one, right? Yeah. This is the sourcing expert solution. What I explained in this one, what I talked about is if you are going to do the order through us, right, which is the contract manufacturing service, that also can be done, but that's a different service and there's a different fee. That's not in 299. Okay. The 299 is where we don't take any responsibility there. We are saying these are the sourcing expert. We connected with the right sourcing expert, and that is our responsibility. And to give you a quality report and making sure that the report is legible and correct is our responsibility. Once you have that, what you do with the supplier is yours. But we will ask you after. Same supplier, do you want us to manage the manufacturing? Do you want us to do the logistics for you? Do you want to run the QA QC for you? We'll do that, but that's also through a separate platform.
So when you look at your, sorry to interrupt, when you look at your current business volume, what percentage of your revenue stream is from your subscription fee, and what is from this?
Today we have no subscription fee. Today we have no subscription fee. As we launch the AI, there will be a subscription fee. Today, so let me just give you an example, okay? So what I said here is if I have 5,000 experts, right? So you can see the percentage. If I do $18 million in the sourcing expert business, I can make 600 million in the contract manufacturing in the trade finance business. That's the ratio. That's exactly the ratio.
Okay.
500 times.
I don't know the market in Singapore, but if you look at the margins, what you considered, for example, 10% margin on logistics or even 0.5% margin on trade finance looks very, very high.
So today in contract manufacturing, we make 10 to 12%. Trade finance, we make out of the 10% of the profit of the trade finance company, of the margins of the trade finance company. 10% of the logistics margins of the logistics company. Not 10% of the...
Good.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Raza. Thank you, Matthew. Milind? I know Pramod also has a question. So probably
Yeah, Pramod raised his hand earlier.
Pramod, do you want to unmute yourself? Yeah.
Thank you for great insights. Just give wanted to understand a little bit on like, does this help in terms of industries like 3PL, like a third-party logistics, using your solutions? But I feel it is more about companies who have their own products, or or OEMs. They manufacture, or they have a huge a list of products that they need to buy in, or because we are planning or expanding or looking out something new which we can uh, propose to our customers. As we are a 3PL company based out in Qatar, and we are actually planning or expanding which all solutions that we can bring in. It can be, I found some insights or some really good use cases which can actually explore. Probably we can get connected. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do in 3PL? Basically, you're providing the logistics, right? Like the last mile delivery service, right? You're pretty much providing the last mile delivery service for them, and you are using technology to provide those. We are going on the first part of that, which is identifying the supplier, knowing who's the supplier, making sure where you supply, whoever is supplying to you is meeting your requirements. So that's the stage we start with. By doing that, we generate data, which is then can be used for doing 3PL, 4PL, whatever you call it. You can do all of that because we have this solution. And all your customers that are using 3PL, they have to use somebody, or somehow they'll be using Alibaba. They might be using Made in China. They might be going to trade shows. They might be going to conferences, wherever, to meet suppliers. We are giving a solution to them that, okay, you don't have to do all these things. We have these experts all around the world, and they will do the work for you. So it's a kind of I would say downstream. You are the upstream of it, and we're the downstream of it. So we're giving you a different variety of solution as compared to a 3PL solution.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Pramod. Going back to Milind or Noma.
Yeah. I have just one. So first of all, it's a really nice solution, and the way you have presented, Manish, is really good. Um, uh, so I understand the solution, but one thing which I really want to understand is that, for example, I'm sitting in US. I really wanted to understand about one product, for example, apparel or a jeans, and I'm looking for a jeans manufacturer. But I wanted to compare the suppliers from multiple geographies. For example, India, Bangladesh, and Vietnam in one go. Because for me, sitting in US, I wanted to understand on multiple factors and parameters. Obviously, that parameters can be adjustable based on my requirement. When I had a word with your expert, initial expert, which you have mentioned. But how the allocation will gonna work? Means, will this be possible in this one kind of a fee which I need to pay like $299, or is it
No,
like for every geography I have to? Yeah, please.
Yeah. So for that, if it's a sourcing expert going to do the work for you, we might have a sourcing expert who's an expert in India, Bangladesh, and maybe Pakistan, right? Somebody in that region. There could be a sourcing expert that says, okay, I can do this. But if you're saying, I want to compare India and Turkey and Peru, there might not be an expert like that. Nobody is an expert in these three markets. An expert means somebody who has been able to go to these factories, has seen the capacities, seen the capabilities, understands how the market works, understand the local language and the business language, and so on and so forth. So those are the people that are experts. So practically, it's impossible to provide you one expert who will do different geographies, like far off geographies. If you're saying, I want somebody in Greater China, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, there might be possible. But if you say, I want Greater China plus Japan plus Tokyo plus Korea, no. We'll say no.
Fair enough.
Fantastic. And I see yeah, Gabriel, please go ahead.
Pankaj, well, let me add to that.
Yeah.
So, but then at that point of time, what happens is, let's say you use three experts. You use one for Turkey, one for India, and one for China, and you found, say, 4 or 5 suppliers. that fit your requirement, and you still want to compare them, then you can use our AI tool, put the profiles up, the link, the PDFs that we give you. You just upload the PDFs, and we will give you an analysis
Wow.
in seconds.
Yes. That helped me to prioritize, okay, which is the best
Yeah,
job.
then you can compare capacity. So, for example, the capacity of a China factory might be 500,000 units a day, while that of Turkey might be 50,000, and the one in India might be 150,000. And you say, oh, I want to go with the 50,000. And the price point of the China factory is at 1.8. The price point of the one here is at 1.6. I think I want to go with that 1.6 at 50,000 capacity.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but when you just a question, when you use these 3 sourcing guys from 3 different regions, you treat it as one project, or you will be charging for 3 projects?
3 people, you're paying for 3 people's fees. You're paying the time, right? You're paying for the time of that person.
Okay.
Thank you.
Matthew understood my problem.
Let's take
No, 3.
from Gabriel as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi guys. My name is starting off as wanted to congratulate you on your project. It seems it's quite a project. I just wanted to ask you, like, what's your warranty? I mean, having all this sourcing in hand, what is your seal of safety for any buyer or any if I want to start like looking for any what's my warranty for starting using this project?
Okay, so the biggest thing, let's just compare with what is in the market. Okay, so if you go on Alibaba or a Made in China or a Global Sources, or you found a supplier, there is 100% no guarantee of anything. They say you found it, it's fine. These advertisers. In our case, what happens is we assure you that you use the sourcing expert. We assure the person's capability, what their background is, which companies they source for, what intelligence they have, and so on and so forth. That is one thing. Now because of doing that, because of having the compliance done on them or identifying them, vetting them, what happens is that the data that is generated, it's high quality data. God forsaken, in the 1% of the chance where there is a problem that happens and you said, hey, the sourcing expert did not give me the quality data, then it's like an Uber time, when there is one time in 100 times when you have a problem, and then we will get involved, we will resolve it. Either we refund you the full thing and give you a compensation, or we take on the project and we say we will finish it, our own internal team will finish it for you very quickly, whatever that is. Case to case, it will be a different way of handling it. So that's the like Airbnb, like Uber, like anybody. Sometimes problems will happen and we'll have to jump in and take it. So that is part of the sourcing expert solution. But if we are doing the contract manufacturing, let's say you found a supplier, you know the price, and we are charging you 10% for doing the contract manufacturing, and that time we take on the responsibility, then your contract is with BuyHive. Then anything goes wrong. So let's say, Gabriel, where are you based, Gabriel? Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry, right now I'm in Malta, near Italy. Yeah.
So you're in Malta and you want to pay into China or India or Vietnam. Once you pay into these countries, you might never get your money back. So instead of that, you sign a contract with BuyHive USA Inc., which is a US company, and you have a proper US contract. It's by US regulations. Everything is protected, and we take the risk. We take the accountability of dealing with the supplier. So your money is protected. If anything goes wrong, your contracts are in the right place. So that's the assurance or warranties that we're talking about.
So when you say that we are going to sign a contract with you in US, so that includes even you take up the responsibility of the manufacturer and everything, and then we have a contract with you, so we don't need to be worried about the manufacturer at all.
Exactly.
So it is all based on the laws of the land of US.
Yeah. So I have 2 companies today, BuyHive USA Inc. and BuyHive Hong Kong Limited. And different buyers sign contracts with my different companies, depending on which they feel comfortable. But both Hong Kong law and US law are pretty much internationally acceptable. So Hong Kong, Singapore, and US, these three laws are pretty much very much favorable for all international trade.
That was my question, because I know that every country, it's difficult compliance and legal wise to actually,
So
negotiate.
you feel more comfortable with our US company, then you can sign the contract with the US company.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I know we are over time, but I'm really enjoying this session. I have not seen such involved panelists and audience in the past, so I'm just loving it. Any other question or comment from the audience?
I just have one question, Pankaj, and I don't know whether it's going to be a controversial or not, but
Don't worry. Go ahead.
I'll address it. So we do understand that, we spoke about supply chain, everything. Everybody is an expert over here who's been there. And we also know that there is a huge disruption in the entire supply chain market, the logistic markets and everything. Um, and we haven't seen the impact of that in terms of value wise. What is the impact? And what you guys have your thoughts about it, whether it's going to be a short-term problem or is it going to be a long-term one, and how do we address it? And anybody can actually answer.
When you say logistics, what are you talking about?
So I'm talking about the bigger problem that we have right now due to the entire war situation, everything. The entire logistic has been disrupted. So everything has been done. So just asking on that particular grounds the question.
Yeah. And actually, frankly speaking, my opinion, I don't know everybody else's opinion. My opinion is that this is going to be
sorry, Manish. I would like to have at least 4 or 5 people pitching in for this, please, if you don't mind.
Sure. Let me start, but I would say that this is going to be an ongoing problem. This is going to be an ongoing problem where logistics is going to be disrupted. Today, it is a few years back, it was COVID. Now it is the Red Sea problems. Tomorrow, it might be something else. You don't know what happens between China and Taiwan, what happens between India and Pakistan, what happens with anywhere, geopolitics, right? So there is going to be that. There is going to be climate changes. In the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see global warming and climate change going to have effects on the costs of shipping. So there is, and then there is, at the positive side, there is other things like infrastructure. So for example, the cost of infrastructure in China now, because infrastructure is built so well, the cost of shipping internally is reducing. Now with the railway line that they built from China to all the way till Germany, the cost will reduce. So there are those good parameters that are happening. And then there is without control parameters that will be happening there. And it's going to be continuously changing. The only thing you can do is to collect the right data and do the right projections. As far as you are using data, do the right projections and use probably AI tools of some kinds to predict or analyze, you will be in a competitive place.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to pitch in and answer some of these points for me, please? What is your opinion? I just want to know the opinion of the people from the supply chain industry.
See, basically, we used to say, before the COVID, we used to say in DHL world that, the digital transformation is like throwing a pebble into a lake. Okay. Whereas they said in a couple of years, it will come out like tsunami. And with pandemic, this is what has happened. Okay. Now, even now, there are a lot of people who are still hesitant to invest into technology, adopt technology, and bring productivity improvement. Okay. But I was looking at one of the recent surveys from Gartner, where they see that 74% of the high-performing organizations, they adopted digital transformation, which is something very, very positive. And if they are high performing and they adopt it, I think it's high time for people to, start looking into that. You cannot do that overnight. Many people think that, okay, the technology can be implemented overnight. This is like you go and ask your wife or girlfriend to deliver in 3 days. No, it takes time. So the implementation takes time, and you need to plan it properly. But if you wait forever, nothing will happen. And it's the right time to think of it and get it done so that you can be ahead of competition. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that, Matthew. Thank you.
Okay, and I may sound a bit shameless over here, but I know we are sitting in front of so many supply chain experts today, and if we don't get their insights, their recommendations, their guidance, then that would be not good. So, what are your guidance on the go-to-market strategy or product roadmap of BuyHive? Anybody? Any guidance? Any insights for the efficient growth of BuyHive?
So this is the reason actually I asked what is the go-to-market strategy. And if we have some insights on how many customers currently they have, okay, they may be on a freemium model, but it's very, very important to see even with a freemium model, what is the adoption. And if the adoption is positive, then we can discuss how they can, look at expanding to the other countries. Now, of course, when you look at users, they will have a lot of, they'll have to change their mindset because they will be scared of data privacy, business knowledge. So if I am dealing in so-and-so product, I may not prefer to leave all the confidential information about my suppliers to a third party. And when it is a marketplace like this, where you have the network of sourcing experts, I don't think there is any way you can guarantee that, the same sourcing expert will not be providing service to multiple companies, organizations in the same industry. So as a buyer, I may lose my confidentiality of information, and I may be hesitant. So maybe Minesh can throw a little bit of light on that, because that's very crucial for me.
The way we have built the system, when a buyer comes in and gives us the request, so let's say Walmart came in and gave us a particular request, the sourcing expert doesn't know it is Walmart. They would know this company with these many stores, with that kind of product requirement, their pricing requirement, compliance requirement, is looking for a supplier that meets the requirement. Then after that, for the same SKU, maybe Target came in. They will say, oh, another retailer with that many stores, with that much. So they will not know this is Target, this is Walmart. And the buyer doesn't know which is the sourcing expert. They know XYZ with 20 years of experience, working for these brands, has done these kind of product categories in the past. So there is a lot of information that is to protect the privacy of both sides. We are keeping that information confidential. So that problem doesn't happen. Your other question earlier was about the users, right? So today we don't have a subscription model. So that's why we don't have freemium users. We are going to launch that in the next few months, and that's when we will start having the data that you're looking for. But what we would like to, from your experience, all of you guys have a lot of tons and tons of experience. So like I said, our models are one, the freemium one through social media, basically mostly LinkedIn, and also signing up and giving demos at different trade shows, all the major industry trade shows where buyers go, where basically wherever there is an Alibaba booth, wherever there is a Global Sources booth, wherever these guys go, we want to be in each and every trade show and showing that there's a superior solution now available to you, which can do much more than what these tools do. So that's our go-to-market strategy. But Can you guys give us any ideas or thoughts? What else can we do? And of course, that not spending tons and tons of money.
I think focused email marketing can bring in value because see, you are at a very early stage and there is no way you can compete with Alibaba or of that size to have a big booth and invite customers. And you are not known to people at this stage. So the market awareness is very, very crucial. So I don't know whether it is email marketing or through WhatsApp, through social medias, the awareness that has to be spread, which should trigger your base customers. And once you have that, then naturally, if your solution is adding substantial value to the customers, the referral will work very clearly. So imagine a situation if you have a customer who becomes a paid customer, you offer them something like, you refer a customer to me, your next project is free, for example. Now, if you offer something like that and a happy customer, his referral is very, very crucial for you to gain the new customer. And if you work on that model and spread the awareness into the market, I think it will take a little bit more time, but it can really work. Good thing is there are not many solution providers in this segment. So, that makes on one side it difficult to spread the awareness, okay, to get the buy-in. But if that is successful, I'm very confident the project can be really successful. And Minesh, maybe, we should connect offline. And I want to see if there is an opportunity to collaborate for your logistics, where you are buying the products, your buyers are buying, and you need logistics support, how we can offer the same through your system to your customers, which can be a win.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I have some suggestions for you. Starting with, so you can approach, according to me, to multiple startup accelerators and mentors, because for them, startups are already there in place, and they really want to develop certain kind of a product. And if there is a young founder, they doesn't have even a market access right now, and with your help, they can do that, and they can have a strategic partnership as well with you. Number one. Number two, also you can have a commercial collaboration with your partners in different fields, because what I understood in the supply chain ecosystem, it's kind of a very inclusive ecosystem within the supply chain. So, like for example, even your logistics partners can connect with you multiple upcoming founders or existing companies as well, those who really want to launch new products, and hence reference from them will give a boost to you as a company, and to the consumer, to that particular founder or to that particular company as well. That okay, I mean, referring, this is the party who is referring. Like, so it's like, the collaboration is the best aspect according to me. I mean, what we need in terms of the commercial, that varies from segment to segment. But yeah, this approach would give you initial access to only those companies, those who really want to enter into certain kind of a product category market. For example, if I'm a founder, I really want to enter into shoe category, and I'm already associated with or already there are multiple mentors who is mentoring me, either through a startup accelerator or through some other way. Then yes, if I have your reference through them, then yes, I'll definitely try to gather that data through you, because I don't have access. Even being in India, I don't have access to entire Indian data. Even I don't know where to start with, frankly.
Yeah.
As a new founder, if I'm entering into some new category. And these days, also there are two people, those who have industry experience, those who are industry experts, and they're already into the market, and they want to launch something. They might have certain idea, but new founders coming directly from the university, they do not have that much market.
Yeah, all the time, yes.
And hence you will be a good support for them. In fact, not only just the initial stage, even for the further stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, so that was one of our theses also when we
Right.
started. We were seeing a lot of these new founders, startup founders, as well as we are seeing a lot of the e-commerce sellers, which are
Right.
not new founders, but they are also smaller guys. And I like the aspect of commercial collaboration, and we are open to that. So all of you guys who are here, if any of you think that we can help your business and you can help our business, we are open to any partnerships, conversations, completely.
Excellent.
Thank you. Any last comment, final comment before we hang up the call?
So my question to everybody is, in this space of procurement, other than the advertising platforms like Alibaba, Global Sources, Made in China, Trade India and stuff, have you seen any other solutions that are working? I understand the solution of the customs data ones like Panjiva and the others, but I'm saying, is there any other AI-based or solution that you've seen with sourcing experts or something like that that you've come across and you thought it is really good and you have used yourself? Anybody?
Not to my knowledge, I have not seen anything of that sort. Of course, there are separate solutions for procurement of different things, specifically focused on a particular product, something of that sort, but not something where you can have by a network of sourcing experts who can be used. Can I ask just one more question, Minesh? Maybe a stupid question, sorry.
No question is stupid.
Your sourcing experts, are they full-time allocated working for you, or are they work as a freelancer in addition to their working relationship with a particular company as of now?
Yeah, so, imagine if I was having 5,000 people on my payroll, what would it cost me? So obviously they are freelancers.
Okay. Yeah, but if they are freelancers for sourcing, are they working with other companies similarly, or they collaborate with a few customers who wanted to use them for the procurement? And
so in general, many of them are working in full-time jobs. So they might be sourcing. So they might be, somebody might be working for Walmart, somebody might be working for Target, somebody's working for D&G, somebody's working for Zara, H&M. So these people are already working somewhere. And that's why actually it is advantageous for us if they're working for somewhere, because they can open doors. When somebody calls you from a startup, as compared to somebody calling you from a Zara, the factory is going to give you a lot more information. So actually we prefer those guys that are working for these big companies.
But will that create any transparency issues?
That is for them to handle with their company and their HR, not for us.
Yeah, no,
we
I
pay them
understand.
for the
Not
time.
for you, but potentially it can affect the buyer.
Because we are not telling. So the thing is, we are not telling the buyer data, right? We are not giving them the buyer data. We're not providing them the buyer information. That's what we keep confidential. I told you earlier that we keep confidential who is the buyer. So even if it is they're working for Zara and H&M asked me to do it, I will not disclose to them that they're working for H&M, and I will not disclose to the sourcing expert they're working for H&M, and I'll not disclose to H&M that they're working for Zara today. That's not the.
Okay, understood. Then
we go by the product requirements, we go by the compliance requirements, go by the capacity requirements, the price requirements, those requirements, not which buyer.
No, understood. But question is, if I am a buyer, I will know who is your sourcing expert, right?
No.
I will not even know. So I just
you will know.
I pay the charges, I get the rate. So I have no clue who is the sourcing expert.
No, so Matthew, you asked me for a shoe sourcing expert in Turkey. You will know the shoe sourcing expert is called ABC or some weird, strange name.
It's a dummy name.
Dummy name. They will know this guy has 18 years of experience. You will know the brands he has worked for in the past. You will know the rating that our team has given them, 90%, 80%, 70%, whatever that rating is. And you will know which product category and industries they have worked in and which countries they have worked in. That all you will know.
Okay. Okay, understood. Okay, I think Pankaj, we may have to finish in next
Wrap up, yes,
8 minutes because even I have got another call at 2.
Yeah, no, again, it has been extremely, extremely exciting panel. And again, because of you guys, because of the audience, we have been enjoying it thoroughly. I mean, all the questions, all the insights, all the feedback that you have given to Manish and Brent is just awesome. And I would love to continue having these kind of conversations in the next, couple of weeks and months, and strengthen the partnership between what you guys are doing and between what Manish and Brent are doing at BuyHive. And I'm sure that we can collectively win together, right? So again, thanks everybody for your time, for the insights, for the questions, feedback, and let's reconnect in the next few weeks and support each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And thank you, Pankaj. You got a very nice audience that did not roast me at all.
The audience has been very kind, very generous. So thanks to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you, guys.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
Let's
Thank you.
reconnect.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Brent, for leading the questions in the initial session.
Enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Brent.
It was
Thank you,
exciting.